Here at Underwood Studio, we record lots of piano. It's a big focus of ours, and it's great to meet so many different pianists with so many different styles. The piano is obviously an incredibly nuanced and expressive instrument. Amanda's going to be playing a range of different styles for us, from classical to jazz to original singer-songwriter styles. And we're going to be looking at a few different microphone techniques and how we apply ourselves to them. The first one off the rank is possibly my favorite for recording in a classical style, and that is the Blumlein technique. A lot of engineers use it for classical piano recordings. It requires the use of two coincidental or figure-of-8 pattern microphones at 90 degrees from each other. It works really well to create a natural stereo image. That image can never really be a problem when folded into mono, so it's a really safe way of creating a stereo pattern. But also it works really well when you're recording piano, for example, at a moderate distance. So if you're really far away from the piano, it can be a little too ambient, and you also lose some of the lower frequencies. But at the right distance, quite close to the piano, the Blumlein technique, I believe, creates one of the most natural sounding recordings that you can use. The C100, with its higher frequency range and dual capsule and high SPL, means that you can be quite close to a very large sound source like a 7-foot concert grand and still capture a beautiful and pure stereo image. Really nice performance from Amanda. That the Blumlein pair captures a beautiful sound of the piano, but it also captures the instrument in the room that it's in. This is such a great natural way to record an instrument with complex harmonies like this. It is also a very balanced and true stereo image. The next recording that we're approaching, Amanda's playing a B-flat blues on piano. It's going to be used with some of our ensemble recordings, and we'll show you some of that footage in a bit. For now, we're going to set up our mic array, but we're using a very close mic technique inside the piano. It's a space pair, and we're using cardioid microphones. Here's a basic structure to help you get your stereo image where it needs to be. The first thing I'd recommend is, from the left-hand side frame support of your piano, measure the diagonal to the end of your frame. Ours measures 160 centimeters. If you halve that number, you get 80 centimeters, and 80 centimeters is the starting point of our stereo pair. Our stereo image is very well defined, and both the microphones are exactly 80 centimeters apart. Our left-hand side stereo microphone is 16.5 centimeters away from the lower bass strings, and by doubling that number, we arrive at 33 centimeters, which is the distance for our right-hand side stereo microphone. Let's go to our DAW and have a listen to the recording, and also see how using a close mic'd technique really lends itself to putting the piano in an ensemble setting. I think you can see from the setup as well that none of the microphones in any way are EQ'd or have compression or anything. They're just very basically balanced so that we can hear the very sincere and true nature and characteristics of these microphones and how they react to the instruments that they're placed on. I think that close miking works in jazz really well. I think it's great. I think we want to just keep it close and pick up just the detail and less of the atmosphere. For our next recording, we are playing a slightly more ambient style of piano playing. In fact, the recording is going to sit within an ensemble setting with a double bass, and we're also going to use some saxophone. So we've chosen to use a spaced pair of Omni microphones. The Omni microphones not only pick up the detail, but they allow a lot more air and presence around our recording. So as the piano comes in, I've got a correlation meter showing me the phase relationship between the two Omni microphones, and you can see we've got a really great stereo image happening there with our piano recording. All we've done here is bring up our piano track. We've got our drums, again unmixed, just the raw audio with our saxophone again, just as it was recorded. Using these new Sony mics, and I think you can hear how usable and how professional the sound is.
Yeah, I think it sounds really good, and like it blends really well as well. The whole piano and the room, the atmosphere just sounds nice and warm.
Yeah.
That's the kind of sound that I'm after.